What is going on, everyone? What a crazy day for the NBA free agency. I broke down the Sixers. I broke down what the Sixers did, but now let's talk about the league. It is safe to say that the Brooklyn Nets, they were the winner of day one of free agency, essentially. To get Kyrie, Irving, to get Kevin Durant. That's some big-time news. Now, how is that going to pan out? We're going to have to see. You have Kevin Durant coming off of that injury, but I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm the GM of any single league, I offer him the max contract, and I allow him to sit out that year so he can reboost, he can find a way to rehab, and I'll take that chance any day of the week on a player like Kevin Durant. It's a no-brainer to spend that money and go out and get this special type of player. As for Kyrie Irving, a good player without a doubt. You see what he did in Boston, and there was some turmoil in that locker room, and he had a tough time being the leader, being the guy. Without a doubt, there was some sort of miscommunication behind the Celtics organization, from the top to Brad Stevens to the connection between the players. It was just dysfunctional. That's reality. It's tough to have a lot of personalities on a basketball team, and Kyrie Irving failed in Boston. That doesn't mean he's going to fail in Brooklyn. Now, this year is a weird year for them because Kevin Durant is obviously not going to play, but obviously they win not the offseason, the agency, the free agency period. They win. You land stars like this, it's unbelievable. Now they're going to get guys like DeAndre Jordan in the mix too, and I'm not a big DeAndre Jordan guy. He's not the reason why I think that they did a better job, to be completely honest with you. But you bring guys in like that, you start to fill this roster out, and you see where they are. It's funny because they are finally getting over the hump of the abysmal trade with Boston to get Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett. You're finally getting rid of that demon, and you're already better than the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks are just atrocious right now, a dumpster fire. All this money to spend in free agency, and what do they land? Julius Randle? Really? I mean, this is what they're landing. That's horrible. I feel bad for them. I honestly do. I feel bad for them because there's this plan, there's this idea, there's this concept that the New York Knicks front office, they're trying to follow. And then what? None of it happens. And now what? Where do we go from here? Do we tank again? Do we got to build Kevin Knox? Like, do we got to build these players? It's terrible. I don't know where to even start if you're in the Knicks organization. You are the New York Knicks. One of the most prestigious logos there is. You're playing in Madison Square Garden, and you can't attract free agents. Now, then you hear the reports that they weren't even giving Kevin Durant the max offer. They didn't even try. They didn't want to. They didn't think it was worth it. How? How do you feel like it's not worth it? You got to take a chance on that. You got to bring people back into the stadium. You got to bring people back to New York Knicks basketball. You're losing out to the Brooklyn Nets. And that's not a knock on Brooklyn Nets. Now listen, they got a nice fan base. They're in New York City. But it's not the Knicks. And you're losing to them. It's embarrassing if you're part of the Knicks. It is. And to land nobody in this free agency period when there's a lot of big fish, and guess what? There's not a lot of big fish next year. It hurts. It's damaging. And who knows where there is to go from here. I'm sorry, but guys like Julius Randle, that's not cutting it. These role players are signing. I think they even signed Elfrid Payton. That doesn't help. That's horrible. So the Nets, A+. The Knicks, F-. Let's see where other teams went with. The Boston Celtics get Kemba Walker, which is a nice signing. After losing Kyrie, you get Kemba Walker. I think Kemba isn't as talented as Kyrie Irving, but I think he's a better teammate, and he's a better mesh with that team, to be honest with you, a better mesh with that culture. So that does help the Boston Celtics, and they get Cantor. They had a problem losing some big men. They get Cantor. I don't love him, but it helps. Without a doubt, when you don't have any centers whatsoever, you lose Horford, you lose some other pieces. The addition of Cantor will help in that spot. It's not crazy. But this is how I put it in perspective. And listen, coming from a Sixers fan, obviously the Celtics are a rival. It's similar to the Sixers. You lose Jimmy Butler, you lose some of your players, but you get Al Horford, and I think the Sixers are in a better position. That's my personal opinion, but obviously I'm biased. I think for what the Celtics lost, they did a good job of filling those holes up with very reasonable players. Kemba Walker is still a good player in this league. I don't think he's a superstar, but he's a good player, and he'll help this ball club, I think, more than Kyrie did. Cantor, not as much of an extreme, but they fill the need with a serviceable player. So, for what it is, and for what the Celtics lost, they could be in a way worse position than they are. And if I'm a Celtics fan, I don't mind what we ended up coming up with, and there's still plenty of time to add. That's just reality, in my opinion. Now, with Miami's interesting because they're this organization that will never tank. They will never lose. They're always in the mix. They're always getting these stars, and I think that's false. A false way of doing things, and here's why. You're constantly stuck in that 8th, 7th seed. That's great that you're going to the playoffs every year. That's phenomenal. But guess what? You don't go anywhere when you're 8th seed, 7th seed. You just don't. 9th, 8th, 7th seed. You just don't go anywhere. Now, the 9th seed's not even in the playoffs, obviously. But that's what they do. They just despise the tanking, which in the big grand scheme of thing, when you look at it big picture, yeah, that's awesome. I respect that you don't want to tank. I respect that you don't want to lose on purpose. But you also don't get anywhere that way. And they go out and get Jimmy Butler, and kudos to him for going to Miami. If he wanted to get out of Philadelphia, by all means, get out of Philadelphia and go to Miami. That's great. You're living in a nice environment. It's warm there. You don't got to pay taxes. Enjoy the beaches. But you're not winning now. You're not winning now. He wanted to win. That was the big thing. I want to win. I'm sorry, dude, but you're not going there to win. And with Jimmy Butler being that guy with the attitude, and he has some attitude with it, and I loved it, and I embraced it in Philly, and I wanted him to come back, and I will never deny that, but he has some sort of locker room thing behind him, and Hassan Whiteside's already out of there. I just don't know what you're going to win with Jimmy Butler in Miami by himself, and you're stuck in that 8th, 7th seed, it seems. They don't have that type of culture to build around, and realistically, I don't know if that many people are thriving to go play with Jimmy Butler. I love him. He's a dog. He's a dog, and I love his attitude. But as the guy, I think there's a problem there, and we'll see how it works in Miami. People want to go there. It's a destination people want to go, so there's time to somewhat fill out the roster. I don't know how many free agents there really are to sign that's going to make that much of a difference, and I don't know about how many trades they can possibly continue to make, but the Heat got what they wanted, and that was a player to stay in the mix and make playoffs rather than tanking and missing playoffs. Is that the right move? In my opinion, no. You have to tank. It's the only way to do it. The only way to succeed in this league is to not be stuck in that 8th seed. So, there's that. The Pelicans signed J.J. Redick. I think that's a phenomenal move by them. They signed him for 2 years. Older guy, veteran, handles himself so well. He can teach this young core. The Pelicans continue to do well. He's a guy who goes to the stadium every day, the court every day, works his ass off. He treats his body the right way. He focuses mentally the right way. He's just a true professional. And with Zion, Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, these younger players, they get to see how J.J. Redick works every day. They get to see his work ethic, how he prepares, how he puts his body in the right position. It's a phenomenal move by the Pelicans to get someone everyone can look up to, who's been around the league, who's been in playoff moments, who's hit big shots. It's tremendous. Tremendous way to have young players learn in this league. The Mavericks. They're building something over there. They have Luka. We all know how great he was. They signed Kristaps Porzingis to an extension, 5 years, $158 million. They get players like Seth Curry, nice role players. I like what Dallas has going over there. It's going to be very intriguing. With Kristaps Porzingis essentially sitting out a whole year, no one really knows what to expect. So we'll see how they go moving forward, and I think it's going to be an outstanding mix with that roster. Of course, we don't know what the situation is with Kawhi Leonard yet. You hear he's talking to L.A. And speaking of L.A., I don't know how this slipped my mind this late into it, but the Warriors get D'Angelo Russell, and I actually like the move. Now, there's rumors that they might try and trade him, but listen, I like the move to acquire him. We'll see how everything goes moving forward. It would be interesting to see what type of things they get in return. I was shocked to see that they were going to trade him. It did seem weird, though, because obviously with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry there, what is the situation for D'Angelo Russell? Where will he be able to fit in there? But Klay Thompson has that injury, and who knows how long he'll be out. This can buy them time, or do they sign it? Do they end up trading him elsewhere? So many reports, but the sign and trade with the Brooklyn Nets is underway. There's some moving pieces, some moving parts. That's interesting, though. Golden State Warriors and D'Angelo Russell. Will that be the future? Will that be the new look? Will that be the Golden State Warriors telling the Los Angeles Lakers, we ain't going anywhere? You want to battle in the Western Conference? Let's battle in the Western Conference. You think we're just going to go away because Kevin Durant left, because Klay Thompson left? Now, I know D'Angelo Russell is not a Kawhi Leonard, it's not an Anthony Davis, but he's a nice piece. He's a good player. He's an up-and-coming star, and we'll see how he goes. And I'm a big fan of his game. I think the move from the Lakers and everything that went down with him personally, it sparked his career. It sparked how he played, and he had a different mindset. So he just added to his game. He continued to work, he continued to grind, and he wanted to prove people wrong after everything that occurred off the court. I'm interested to hear your thoughts to this point. The Pacers signed Brogdon. They give up some pieces. They signed him for 4 years, $85 million, so the Bucks lose him, but the Bucks also re-signed Chris Middleton. I believe they signed Wes Matthews as well, which is a nice bench player. There's still some pieces to be moved. There's still some free agents out there. We will continue to watch. Thanks for watching. See you next time.